The Owerri Imo state was thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine and expensive perfume, a fragrant cloak for the secrets that clung to the humid evening. Inside the grand ballroom of the Nike Lake Resort, a transformation was underway, shimmering under the light of 1,000 crystal chandeliers. It was the annual Ahijioku Festival Masquerade Ball, but this year, hosted by the enigmatic Chief Ibuka the Leopard Duru, it promised to be unlike any other. The theme was Veils of the Ancestors, and the elite of IGBO society had outdone themselves. Beaded, feathered, and sequined masks hid identities, while whispers slithered through the room like snakes in tall grass. At the center of the gossip was Amaka, Chief Duru's beautiful, sharp-witted niece. She stood near the champagne fountain, a solitary figure cloaked in emerald silk, her peacock feather mask doing little to hide her disdain. Her uncle had summoned her from her bustling life in Lagos for this ostentatious event, insisting it was crucial for the family. But Amaka knew better. The chief, a man who had built his vast fortune on a complex web of secrets and cutthroat deals, was up to something. He never did anything without a motive, and tonight's grand theater felt like the stage for his most elaborate play yet. Her gaze drifted across the room, past the laughing politicians and bejeweled matriarchs, landing on a figure standing silently in the shadows near the veranda. He was tall, dressed in a simple, elegant black suit, but it was his mask that held her captive. Unlike the others, his was not a creation of feathers or jewels, but a stark, hand-carved wooden mask depicting the grimacing face of an ancient spirit, the kind used in sacred old-world ceremonies. He was a stark contrast to the glittering opulence around him, an unnerving omen. There was a dangerous stillness about him, an intensity that seemed to burn right through the anonymity of his disguise. He didn't mingle, didn't drink, he just watched. He watched the crowd, he watched her uncle, and most unsettlingly, he seemed to be watching her. The main event is about to begin. A voice boomed through the speakers, pulling Amaka from her thoughts. The crowd, a river of silk and diamonds, parted as Chief Duru, resplendent in a flowing agbada of gold brocade and a fearsome leopard mask, stepped onto the raised dais. The mask, with its snarling mouth and inlaid obsidian eyes, was a perfect symbol of the man, himself powerful, predatory, and unreadable. "My friends, family," he began, his voice a low rumble that commanded immediate silence. "Tonight we honor tradition. We wear these masks to remember the spirits of our ancestors. But we also honor truth. For years, a ghost has haunted our family name. A story of a stolen will, a disinherited sibling, a fortune built on a lie." A nervous hush fell over the ballroom. The clinking of glasses ceased. Amaka's heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the sudden quiet. He was talking about her father, his younger brother, who had died broken and penniless, cheated out of his inheritance by this very man. The story was an open secret, a wound that had festered in their family for 2 decades. Why was he bringing it up now, in front of everyone? Chief Duru let the tension build, a maestro conducting an orchestra of discomfort. "The whispers have said that I, Ibuka Duru, betrayed my own blood for this wealth," he continued, his voice dripping with fox sincerity. "Tonight I will silence those whispers forever. I will right the wrongs of the past. The time has come for justice." He raised a hand, and 2 of his security guards brought a heavy, ornate chest to the stage. "In this chest lies the original will of our father, and with it the proof of my innocence and the key to restoring what was lost." He produced a small antique key. "I will open it now, and I will give my beloved niece, Amaka, her father's rightful share, multiplied tenfold for the years of hardship." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amaka felt 100 pairs of eyes on her, a mixture of pity, envy, and morbid curiosity. It was a masterstroke of public relations. Her uncle wasn't just clearing his name. He was painting himself as a magnanimous patriarch, a forgiving and just leader. She felt a wave of nausea. This was all a performance, and she was the unwilling star. But as Chief Duru bent to insert the key into the lock, a sudden commotion erupted from the back of the room. The crowd surged backward as the man in the wooden mask strode forward. He moved with an unnerving grace, not pushing, but simply parting the sea of people as if by sheer force of will. 2 of the chief's guards moved to intercept him, but he dispatched them with a swift, brutal efficiency that spoke of professional training. He reached the dais and stood before Chief Duru, a silent, menacing specter. The chief, for the first time that night, looked genuinely startled. His bravado faltered. "Who are you? What is the meaning of this?" Chief Duru demanded, his voice losing its confident rumble. The masked man said nothing. He simply reached out and took the key from the chief's trembling hand. He turned, his hollow wooden eyes seeming to find Amaka in the crowd. Then, with a deliberate slowness that amplified the tension in the room to a breaking point, he walked to the chest. He inserted the key, turned it, and the lock clicked open with a sound that echoed like a gunshot in the silent hall. He lifted the heavy lid. Inside, there was no will. There was only a single withered kola nut and a small, aged photograph of two young boys, a smiling Chief Daru and a younger, happier version of Amaka's father. A collective gasp went through the room. Chief Daru stared into the empty chest, his face ashen behind his mask. The charade had collapsed. There was no will. There never was. He had planned to produce a forged document, one that would exonerate him and make him look generous. The man in the wooden mask had known. "The lie is empty, Ibuka," the stranger's voice finally sounded, low and raspy, yet carrying to every corner of the room. It was a voice Amaka had never heard, but it sent a shiver of recognition down her spine. It was a voice that held the weight of years of pain. "Who are you?" The chief stammered, backing away. "Unmask yourself." The man shook his head slowly. "My face is not for you to see. My face is the truth you tried to bury." He turned his masked gaze back to Amaka. "He took everything from your father. His land, his name, his life. The will he spoke of tonight was another lie, a document he forged to cement his power and trick the world. The real will was burned the day your father died." The crowd erupted in a frenzy of whispers. Chief Daru's empire, built on a foundation of lies, was cracking before their very eyes. "Seize him!" The chief roared, his voice cracking with panic. "I'll give a reward to whoever unmasks him." But no one moved. They were all frozen, watching the drama unfold. The masked stranger turned and began to walk away, his purpose seemingly served. He moved back through the parted crowd, heading for the exit. Chief Daru, enraged and desperate, lunged after him, trying to rip the mask from his face. The stranger stopped, turned, and in one fluid motion caught the chief's wrist with a strength that seemed inhuman. He twisted, and the chief cried out, falling to his knees. The fearsome leopard mask tumbled from the chief's head, revealing a face contorted not with power, but with pure, unadulterated terror. The stranger held his position for a moment longer, his wooden mask a stark, emotionless judge over the cowering chief. Then he released him and continued his silent retreat. He reached the grand entrance, gave one last look back, not at the chief, but at Amaka, and then slipped out into the night, disappearing as mysteriously as he had appeared. The ball was over. The music had died. The champagne was forgotten. The only thing left was the ruin of Chief Ibuka Daru's reputation. And the lingering, terrifying question that hung in the air, a question that Amaka knew would haunt her forever. The masquerade was over for everyone except the one man who mattered. The ghost of the past had returned, and he had refused to unmask.